Now, this week's Best Bets with Hunter McCann.
Happy Friday. Welcome to the weekend. Welcome back to Best Bets. Very good weekend, I might say, Hunter.
Yeah.
Winner, and without a missed targeting call, probably should have been a winner.
Yeah, probably so.
There would have been another point or two.
I would have to think so if Jay Daniels stays in that game. But
Yeah.
no, really not too bad. You go 2-1, and that's what, the third week in a row, I think, 2-1, and we went 4-2 overall if you grab the entire slate. So let's check them out. Notre Dame got embarrassed against Clemson as Sam Hartman had his worst game of the season, completing less than 50% of his passes and throwing 2 interceptions, including a pick 6. So they lost that game by 8. Now LSU, as we just mentioned, this is probably the most painful loss for me betting this season. Not because it's the Tigers, but because they had 28 points with 11 minutes to go in the third quarter, and they just never scored again. Obviously, like I mentioned, Jane Daniels getting knocked out of the game is a big reason why. But it absolutely stinks when you're just so confident to bet, and that's how you lose it. I was right, and you were wrong last week, though, about this Missouri game. They kept it a ball game in Athens, only losing to the Bulldogs by 9, covering that 15.5 points. So where one SEC Tiger team failed me, the other one picked up the slack.
There you go.
Now, over the NFL, we did it. We went flawless. We went perfect. 3-0 over the NFL. Ravens beat the snot out of the Seahawks, winning by 37. They easily covered that 3-point spread. Cowboys kept it close in Philly, but after a couple miscues, the Eagles were able to maintain that lead and escape with a 5-point dub. And lastly, the other Tiger team that we had last week, the Cincinnati Bengals, did their job, what they were supposed to do. As I said, they created turnovers and let Joey B cook. The Bengals got it done on Sunday night, winning by 6.
Get back to that in a second. I've been waiting for the Georgia Bulldogs to cover a spread all year long. This isn't a part of your slate, but I think they get it done this weekend. We're not going to talk any more about that.
Yeah, you're right. I don't have that one on the board, but I do agree with you. They're 9.5-point favorites. I think this is the weekend.
Okay, back to the NFL real quick.
Yeah.
You've really picked it up the past couple of weeks.
It's been good. I mean, we talked about wanting to move the luck around a little bit, and then you go and get that 3-0. So now we're just waiting for the coveted 6-0 finish, 3-0 in both college football and the NFL.
This may be the week, as we always do, though. We start with college football. Where do you want to begin?
I feel like we always end up there, but we're going to go to the SEC because it's the conference that just means more. Arkansas is hosting Auburn for the battle of the bottom of the SEC West. Auburn is 2-4. Arkansas is tied for dead last in the SEC West with Mississippi State at 1-5. Auburn's won 2 games in a row against Mississippi State and then Vanderbilt, 2 of the worst teams in the SEC, as I mentioned. And now they're taking that streak on the road against an Arkansas team that has underperformed all year. After Arkansas's pitiful 7-3 loss to Mississippi State 3 weeks ago, the Razorbacks fired their offensive coordinator. As head coach Sam Pittman said, the offense had lost their spirit. But they definitely found it last week, knocking off the Florida Gators in an overtime 39-36. I love the Razorbacks this weekend at home against this Auburn team.
Folks, if you're watching at home and you just heard what Hunter said there, he thinks both of these teams are garbage. His email is hmccann@WBRZ.com. You have bet against Auburn multiple times this season. What makes you think they can extend this win streak on the road?
I think that Arkansas Razorbacks have a lot of talent, don't get me wrong. But they're led behind K.J. Jefferson, though, and that's the difference maker to me. This offense last week seemed inspired as they had new life. And now they're letting go of their offensive coordinator a few weeks ago is exactly what they needed to get the ball moving again on offense. Look, I've said it all year. Auburn's offense is well below par. And on the road, they've been pretty bad this year, if not worse than they are at home. I love this line at less than a field goal. So give me K.J. Jefferson and the Razorbacks to protect the home turf and get their second conference win of the season. Arkansas, -2.5 tomorrow afternoon.
All right, I agree with that. Auburn hasn't let you down this year.
No,
Where do you
they
want to go
have not.
next?
All right, Florida State Seminoles are next on the board as they host the Miami Hurricane. The 4th-ranked Seminole squad has not allowed their opponent to score more than 20 points the last 5 games. The Hurricanes have struggled to score points last week against NC State, and I believe against this Florida State team, they're going to have the same issues. Florida State is on a mission, and the smallest of mistakes could cost them their chances into the college football playoffs. Miami, they're just a speed bump for this motivated Seminole squad. And I believe there's great value in this game at less than 2 touchdowns. I just checked before we came in there, still there at 13.5 points. Because their offense has been lackluster the past few weeks, this Florida State team. But it's very probable that their top receiver, Keon Coleman, is coming back this weekend, and that's exactly what they need to cover a large spread. So give me Florida State to cover 13.5 at home against the Miami Hurricane.
And if there were a prop bet in this, Miami's going to make some unbelievable mistake.
They make a lot of mental errors and mistakes. They've done it multiple times this year. That really does make this Florida State team even more probable to cover a spread of more than or a little under 2 touchdowns.
Okay, perfect in the NFL last week. What are you cooking up this week?
All right. Another bounce-back week for a squad that has been on a roll this year, but they ran into a few speed bumps. San Francisco 49ers are heading to Jacksonville to face the Jaguars. This Jags team has been red hot, winning all 5 of their games in October, but now they're going to have their hands full with this 49ers defense that's been holding teams at bay all season. And on the offensive side of the ball, they were clicking on all cylinders until the injury to Deebo Samuel back in Week 7. Since then, they have not won a game. But after their bye week, I believe this Super Bowl caliber team is set to bounce back with Deebo returning.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the Jags beat up on my Steelers in Pittsburgh not too long ago. Yeah. You don't think there's any chance the Jags pull this out at home?
I mean, I definitely think that this Jags team is very capable. But with Deebo returning, I think that's the key to this game. He adds a completely different element to this team, allowing Brock Purdy to throw the contested deep ball and brings another layer of creativity to offense. Deebo's speed allows the Niners to run the ball with him around the edge, takes the load off of McCaffrey's shoulders a little bit, and I think that'll be the difference maker. Once they're back to full strength like they are this week, Trevor Lawrence and the Jags are going to have some issues against this 49ers. So give me the 49ers, -3 on the road to bounce back. And as they try to get back to their winning ways of really, a lot of people thought they were going to be Super Bowl contenders coming into the season.
I think it's a trap, but to each their own, partner.
Trap game here. All right, let's run back through it again, including that trap game that you think is going to be so what's the word?
Maybe
giddy.
I just think that they're better because they beat my Steelers.
Maybe so.
Okay.
And they also beat the Saints. So, okay. All right, Arkansas get their second conference win covering 2.5. FSU to get its top receiver back and run up the score on the Miami Hurricane, -13.5. And lastly, the trap game. The 49ers to get the train back on the tracks, dismantling the Jags on the road, -3.
I'm going to love when Deebo's not a factor in that game. All right, another weekend of winners here, but it doesn't stop there, does it?
No, it doesn't. I have 3 more picks on WBRZ.com right now, so go check them out. But if you want an in-depth analysis of those picks, tune in to Sports Shorts Radio tomorrow morning from 10 to noon on ESPN 104.5. I'm going to be co-hosting the show live from LeBeur's Casino and Hotel right here in Baton Rouge.
I also found it interesting you're not trusting LSU to get any of your money this weekend.
I think I'm done betting on the Tigers this year. They've caused me enough pain and suffering. I'm going to be at that Florida game tomorrow, and I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the show.
How have they done against the spread this year?
I think this year they've only covered it, I want to say 3 times.
Wow.
I want to say it's 3 times, and I've been on the back end of a lot of those. So we've picked them twice on the show so far, Ole Miss and Alabama. And we're 0 for 2 on those Tiger picks. So I think they're going to be retired for the season.
It's like me and Georgia. He is Hunter McCann. I'm Michael Shingleton. We're back every week with the best bets in both college football and the National Football League.